We need more Chabad people in Tel Aviv. Chabad could instead of going to Wyoming, instead of going to Alabama, send some shlichim to Tel Aviv. We need the good Chabad guys from America to come to Tel Aviv and do kiruv. We need to be makar. They're so lost. This is the Golos.
There are still Yidden in Kansas and Tennessee, North Carolina. My daughter is the shlucha of
send the people from Kansas to Eretz Yisrael.
Everyone has to listen. Let me just make one more comment because it's important. It's very, very important. Like, people are saying what you should do. I hear a lot of people saying we all have to go to Eretz Yisrael now because in the time of the Bayesheni you have to go to Eretz Yisrael. We have to go to Eretz Yisrael. And because, Hashem is giving us these messages, all the anti-Semitism, Abdani is telling us to go to Eretz Yisrael. So my personal belief is that none of us are on the level. We don't have Ruach HaKodesh. God doesn't speak to us. We can only see what it says. We can't make connections between, say, oh, this happened here, so this happened there. First of all, the time of the Bayesheni, there were Nevi'im. You had Chagi, Zechariah, Malachi, Mordechai, Daniel. You had Nevi'im. And they said, it's time to build the Beis HaMikdash. So that was a taina on Klal Yisrael. Only 42,000 people go. The Nevi'im are saying that Hashem wants to build
3,360.
360, right.
No, so every one of them counts, yeah.
Every single one of them counts, 100%. So you can't compare the two because here, Hashem is saying through his prophets that you should go back, and the Jews are not listening, and they're very comfortable. It's difficult to go to Eretz Yisrael, just like the earlier Chassidim and the Litvish who went to Eretz Yisrael was extremely difficult. It was also very difficult. They were very established now in Bavel, and they had yeshivas and Bati Midrashim and Chadarim, and they had supermarkets and kosher supermarkets and 16 types of kosher spread and all this kind of stuff that we have in Shushi and all this stuff. It was in Bavel. They were doing very well. The Babylonians actually, after they treated them very well. So I'm going to go to this place and fight against all the inhabitants there, the Arabs and the Shemroidim and over, and give up my parnasa, give up anything. So they didn't come. That was a taina. Today we don't have the beam. I don't think anybody, except for going the extra mile to do more Torah mitzvahs, more chesed, more tzedakah, which says in the Torah, "Tziyah b'mishpati padim b'shaveh b'tzedakah." It's through tzedakah, through chesed, being kind, being nice to your friends, nice to your family, spreading Yiddishkeit, like you're saying, being ma'aseh nefesh for another Jew, begashmius u'baruchnius. This is what Torah says, that chesed and tzedakah is what brings Mashiach. For us to say that we have to do this to bring Mashiach, Hashem doesn't need our help. He tells us what we have to do. He never tells us, hey guys, and it's not for all the rabbis. A lot of people are saying this. I have a lot of respect for them. I'm not putting anyone down, but nobody's on the Madrega. We don't have people like Rabbi Feinstein, Lubavitch Rebbe, Rabbi Eliashiv, even Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky. We have big Talmidei Chacham, but they're not on a level that we could say they're Bali Ruach HaKodesh, and that they're in tune, and Hashem is speaking to us through them. So we can't make Dibian, oh, this is what we have to. Of course, why shouldn't you go to Eretz Yisrael? It's a mitzvah to go to Eretz Yisrael. Well, you hope like the Ramban or not.
The Torah was meant to be learned in Eretz. The Torah could only be fulfilled. Like you mentioned before, that Eretz Yisrael.
Yes, of course, but the Amos sent us the same Rabbi Yisrael, the same God who told us about Eretz Yisrael, that is giving us Eretz Yisrael and all the mitzvah parts, and Moshe Rabbeinu was dying to go to Eretz Yisrael, etc., etc. That same God said, at a certain point in time, it's time for you to go in Gullus. And it's detailed in the Torah exactly what's going to happen and what's going to happen in Gullus. So Hashem has to tell us, okay, guys, remember the Gemara says, for example, according to Abba the Yarber, there's a law to leave Bavel. After Bavel was established during the time of the 70 years, we don't pass like that.
Yeah, but now half the Jews have already returned, so it's no longer a question where the Shechina is. The Shechina has to be with the Jews.
The state of the Gemara says is in every shul, every base medrash, there's a famous word that says Beis Rabbeinu Shem Bavel. The head of the Gadol Ador in Bavel has the same kedusha as the Beis HaMikdash. That's what the Gemara says. So you don't have to limit. You don't have to limit the Shechina. The Shechina could be in a lot of different places. Two people are tired. The Shechina is there, and you can have a million chavrusis all over the world. Hashem is with every single one of them.
We need all the chayalim. We need all of Klal Yisrael. We need every person to do what they're good at. If you're good at kiruv, do kiruv. If you can give shirim, give shirim. If you could come to Eretz Yisrael and work a field, and that's all you can do, go do that. Everybody has to be part of the plan.
I don't think. I really don't think that anybody's mission in life. You have B'nai Noach, and there's a lot of nice Christians that go help the farm and stuff like that.
Sometimes I think they're the only ones listening to my show.
I don't think there's any firm person that his avoid in life is to be. If you're a farmer, so that's you are. But then if I'm not a farmer, and let's say I'm a businessman and I make a lot of money, I can give money to tzedakah and support yeshivas, or I'm a Talmid Chacham or Rosh Hashiva, Magid Shir, or just Terosei Ibnasei. I don't think Hashem wants me to stop all that and have a farm in Israel. If you
Forget
have a
what
farm,
Hashem wants. What do you want? Do you want to be together?
you want to do what
in
Hashem
land,
wants.
or do you-
And Hashem tells us what he wants.
But Hashem doesn't.
tells us. Hashem says, "Tzir b'mishpati pada v'shaveh
It also
b'tzedakah." This is what I want
Bahar
from you.
Tzion Tia Plata. It says in that Eretz Yisrael will be the Plata, Bahar Tzion. That's where we're going to be. V'haya Kodesh.
Exactly.
Let's make
That
her hold it.
was a prophecy that was fulfilled during the Holocaust when Hitler wanted to get that he was stopped in his tracks, that we was saved. That's a prophecy. That's not a mitzvah. It doesn't say Bahar Tziyad, go to Har Tziyad.
I know. You know what? This is something that bothered me. Why isn't the Yishuv Eretz Yisrael a mitzvah? You know why? I think because Hashem wants you to want it. That was why we ended up crying on Tisha B'Av, because we didn't want to go to Eretz Yisrael. That was Numbers 14. The first verse says, the Bnei Yisrael cried. They say, we do not want to go to God's promised land. And Hashem said, you don't want to go? I'm going to give you a reason to be in exile. And today,
Bart, it's a nice tickle Torah, but with all due respect, the reason why it's not a mitzvah is because mitzvahs are eternal. And it's not always a mitzvah to be in Eretz Yisrael. There was a time from the Korban till today where the mitzvah was to be a ghost. That's what Hashem wanted. Hashem wanted us to be a ghost.
This goes back to the Yosef idea of
now I agree with you. If somebody today is not doing anything constructive in Chutz La'aretz, in other words, you're not giving shiurim, you're not reaching out to Jews or to non-Jews, because that's also important, and you're in a situation where you're not entangled here, you have business here, you have kids here, you have to stay here for whatever reason, you're retired, of course you go to Eretz Yisrael, even if it's not a mitzvah. The Rabbi doesn't hold it's a mitzvah. He says it's a big
to be in Eretz Yisrael.
100%.
But there's so much work to be done in Chol. That's what you're saying.
But to tell somebody who's established here and he's doing good things, that he's making money, for example, that he's giving a huge amount to tzedakah, and he's learning with people or is a pillar of his community and building shul and stuff like that, to say give up everything because I believe that's what the Mishnah wants. It doesn't work that way. Again, it says the Rambam says Mashiach is becoming to Yisrael, which means that Mashiach is going to say, "Okay, guys, it's time to come." Before Mashiach comes, then people who are inspired to go are inspired to go, but nobody could tell anybody else to go to Eretz Yisrael except
How is
Mashiach.
that half the Jews are in Eretz Yisrael for Mashiach?
Because that's exactly what Hashem wanted, so He inspired them to go. But it's not for someone else to tell somebody to go. The reason why you're in Eretz Yisrael, Aaron, and I'm not.
Hashem inspired me. Hashem inspired me. I got lucky.
I just got very inspired to go to Eretz Yisrael, and I told my wife, and if she's convincing me this and that, and she gives me a few tanoim. She's not so excited about it because our kids are in Chutz La'aretz. And I went to they had this whole program here in Monsey, by the way. They had all these different real estate agents come over here and talk about the programs. I spent with her a few hours going through stuff. I feel it's coming to me now. Now, if it's coming to me, that means maybe it's coming to me. It came to you before me. You're a holy soul. The people who are in Eretz Yisrael, went to Eretz Yisrael, Hashem, through their circumstances, communicated with them, go.
100%.
The people who are sitting and learning in Lakewood, Yom V'Layla, giving shiurim and living there, and if they go to Yisrael, they might be thrown in jail. But in Lakewood, the American government supports them nicely. So
they don't have to make aliyah to come. You know, you'd only get thrown in jail if you made aliyah. You don't have to make aliyah.
Okay.
Just come.
All right. You don't have to convince me. I'm just telling you that to tell.
I never
it's
said
not for me. It's not. It's if someone wants to go to Yisrael. The Rebbe always. If someone said he's going to Yisrael, the Rebbe gave him all his brachas. If someone said, I have a Chabad house, but I'd love to move to Eretz Yisrael, the Rebbe said, if you have a Chabad house, stay with your Chabad house. You don't have a Chabad house? You have a business and you can move to Eretz Yisrael?
I have a question for you. I was almost quiet the whole time.
Yes.
A wealthy philanthropist approached me twice in the past month, and he is a Chabad person, and he's well-known. He's a well-known figure in the world. And he said that he wants to fly me to America with 3 other rabbis, and he wants us to go to Chabad youth and speak to them about Eretz Yisrael. I wanted to know what you thought about.
What does he want you to tell them about Eretz Yisrael?
He wants me to talk to them to see if they could come to Eretz Yisrael and do kiruv in Eretz Yisrael. Now, I'm not undecided whether I'm going to do this. I'm also undecided if I'm going to leave this in the interview. It depends on what you say.
Right.
So I wanted to know do you think he's wasting his money? Because they're never, it's not on the radar, and they're in line with what the Rebbe said.
What are these youth doing now? To which people does he want you to speak? What are they doing now?
Okay, I hear.
No, I'm just saying, if you're talking about shluchim, that are doing stuff here, let them do what they do. If you talk about people that are not doing anything, and and that could go to Eretz Yisrael and be mashpia, right now our job is, I believe, like that's what the Rebbe. We have to try to transform And it's happening now because the government is doing a lot of stuff that's a lot, you know what's going on better than me. A lot of good stuff, with all the terrible stuff that's going on, putting yeshiva bachrim, in jail and putting guys with Mashiach patches in jail. They're doing a lot of good stuff as far as, building yeshuvim and building and giving money for yeshivas. They're doing a lot of amazing stuff also. And even going on the Harabayas and, finally once
who
and for
cares
all.
about the government? Like, to me,
Right.
in Eretz Yisrael, like the government, and the Tzionim, all the different problems.
No, I agree with everything you're saying.
Sure,
No,
I'm here because of Eretz
my point
Yisrael.
is, the Rebbe's goal was to transform the government and to make them, not to destroy them, but to transform them from within. And we're seeing it happening now because the government is becoming more sensitive. But there's a fight going on. Right before Mashiach comes, there's a fight between good and evil. So there's really, in Eretz Yisrael, you have the judiciary and you have the attorney general and you have all that stuff, but that's before Mashiach comes. There's this tension because the forces of evil are realize that their time is up and they're using every possible means, to strangle the situation. But in order to transform the Eretz Yisrael to a holy place, it's all about numbers. So the more Yidden from people that you have in Eretz Yisrael, the more power they'll have. Like right now, I think there's enough from Yidden in the world. If they would get together, if they would get rid of the stupid sinas chidam that Haredim have for dat and they have for each other, and come to some kind of, understanding with each other, realize that we're all on the same page.
We're not American. In Israel, everybody's just like a family. It's like when you get in the car, the kids start pushing in this and that, and like nobody cares, nobody's embarrassed, and I took me a long time to figure this out. But everybody it's not really fighting. I don't really think there's fighting going on.
Well, if not, Rabbi, so why can't all the religious parties get together? In Israel now, they're all predicting that Netanyahu might have 25 seats.
The religious
party, if they were joined together, they would have 35, 40 seats. They would be chosen to give a government, and they could appoint a from prime minister if they would get to act together instead of fighting with each other.
And if a million Jews came from New York who were they would also be able to do that.
That's right. So that's why I'm agreeing with you.
Right.
One of a very good reason to go to Eretz Yisrael now, even more than before,
is to make it.
If you're not involved in doing something important, if you're not teaching Torah or doing kiruv or anything like that, is because the more from people are there, it's a democracy. So the more power we have, we can transform the government. Right now, it's we need to rely on them. We could come to a point, another million from people go to Eretz Yisrael, it's finished. We're taking over the country, not miraculously, democratically.
Right. Right.
So that's another very positive reason, to encourage for people to go to Eretz Yisrael, because you come to Eretz Yisrael, the minute you step off the plane, you're a citizen and you could vote and you could bring more from people and maybe speak to all these guys in government and say, put your differences aside and let's work together to have the biggest, strongest, party that Israel ever had. And we're all from. We all believe in God. We all believe in the Torah. You go to the army. You don't go to the army.
We're literally at a tipping point for the first time in history where we could actually make a change. Instead of saying, oh, this is a terrible problem in Eretz Yisrael, we could say, we can actually solve this problem. If we got Achdus, like you just said, you said Sinas Chinam destroyed the Beis Hamikdash, and now you're saying Avas Chinam. Avas Chinam is not just, but it's like if all of us got together and said, we want to make a Jewish government, we could solve 95% of all the problems in Eretz Yisrael and really make a huge step towards the Geula. So that's why this is very exciting, that more and more people are, Hashem, like you said, calls him. When I came to Eretz Yisrael, the land just called me. I have a nephew who's here. He came to Eretz Yisrael one time on a birthright or some type of trip, and the bug just hit him, and he's an Eshator. He's off. He's off to the books. You know what I mean? That's it. It's just, and it has this, and not everybody stays. Some people, they go back and they go back to their communities. It's not about that. It's about getting reconnected to the land, reconnected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so much, obvious when you're out, when you're in Eretz Yisrael, and everybody's following Shabbos, and at least in the little community that I live in.
It's crazy. You know yourself better than me. The recent polls in Eretz Yisrael is crazy amount of people. I saw the majority of Israelis, 60 or 70% of Israelis keep Shabbos now. Under 30 say they keep Shabbos. I don't know if they keep with all the chumras, but they light Shabbos candles, they say Kiddush, they go to shul. 60% of American youth, the Zionists, again, I don't want to bash Zionists again, but they thought they could shmad up Klal Yisrael, and they thought in a generation or so, it's not going to be from in Eretz Yisrael. It's the exact opposite. Right now, these same kids that before October 7th weren't from, they became from after October 7th. According to polls, like almost 1 million Jews said they became closer to God after October 7th. And you have the amount of Jews that are keeping Shabbos, it's crazy amount. The majority of Eretz Yisrael are Shema Shabbos. It's crazy. It's crazy what's happening, and it's getting
Chabad is
stronger and
doing
stronger.
amazing work in Eretz Yisrael. There's so much work to be done over here. Instead of thinking of Eretz Yisrael being problematic,
I agree with you. There's a lot of Lubavitchers that are not on shlichus. You could speak to them. A lot of Lubavitchers are working. There's a lot of Bachrim. I want to just tell you one thing. I'll end with this. There's a lot of Bachrim that want to go on shlichus, but they can't because every location is already taken. Because every single state is taken, every country in the world. You can't find a country in the world that doesn't have Chabad. Nowhere, nothing. There's even in South Korea, Vietnam. They're all over the place. Bahamas are already taken by my daughter, so forget that. So my point is, these guys, they say I can't go on shlichus, so I'll go in business. These guys, you should say no. You could go on shlichus because
and
there are
don't make
millions.
aliyah. Come to Eretz Yisrael and don't make aliyah, and like that, you'll never have a problem with the army.
Right, 100%.
And when the Haredim take
7
over,
million Jews in Eretz Yisrael. You don't have to go to a small country, to seek out 200 Jews. When there's 7 million Jews, and their hearts are open now. Their hearts are open. So 100%, go out there. Tell this guy you'll go. You want to speak to these guys that are not on shlichus. They're not applying on shlichus because they gave up on it because they think there's nowhere to go. You tell them there's a lot of places to go. I'll show you on every street in Tel Aviv, you have thousands of Jews that hearts are open.
So
not only
much work
put on
to be
tefillin,
done.
you can learn with them all over Eretz Yisrael. There's 7 million Jews over there. Maybe half of them are from. There's so much to do over there. You go for it, Rabbi.
25 years ago, I was the rabbi of Tel Aviv University. Jeff Seidel sent me over there. And I was in the Sackler Medical Center. We'd have every night, not every night, once a week, but almost every night we would have some type of event going on there. And that was 25 years ago. And today
it's going to be crazy how much you got.
It's going to be crazy. Yeah.
Go for it.
Right. So thank you so much, Rabbi Weisberg. I learned a lot from this conversation. I literally could have stopped you every moment. Thank you so much. If you could lead us out with a short bracha. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. You're doing amazing work, spreading Torah and Yiddishkeit and speaking to all these great rabbis with all these good ideas. So keep going and get so many people go to Israel, 100%. If they're not doing anything here, they don't belong here. They belong exactly like you're saying in the streets of Tel Aviv. You have a lot of hatzlach in all your holy work.